Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're going to be playing more Stanley Parable 2. This is probably going to be the last video of this series. I don't know how much else we're going to be able to do. It seems to just be kind of repeating basically everything, but we'll see. I hope you are all doing great. I am doing alright. I'm pretty tired as usual, but that's okay. I'm ready to dig into more Stanley Parable, and I hope you guys are ready. Alright, let's hop into it.
It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were.
Yes.
Just a matter of time. Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Certainly did, sir. Get it, sir? Stanley did. Bad me bad.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Press the buttons.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
I'm
Was
just
it
that
the bucket
smart.
knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I wonder if we'll still move to our deaths.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
As long as we're together, that's all that matters.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Yep. Whee! I want to find my pit. I was hoping that was actually my pit. Does the female
As the machine
narrator?
whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death?
Indeed.
This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Did that happen before? Oh, is this for the
Farewell,
women's?
Stanley, cried
Okay.
the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed
No!
violently to death.
Don't touch my bucket. Eh? Eh?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket.
No.
It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
I agree. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within a cavernous void. Oh my God. But through use of the exhibit, oh my God, I really can't read. But through the use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is only true knowledge is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learned here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging? about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness? Always ignorance. Always.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
25 buckets!
Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Oh my god. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. Magnificent bucket. The bucket with 2 handles. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design will never be created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Don't double handle a bucket. Infernal bucket, a replica of the infernal bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. That is fair. Let's go this way. Stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equal holes. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. The stress bucket presented without commentary. This is the best museum. Oh my god. Cave drawing. Well, we know that buckets predate the existence of man. We do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. Jesus. Oh, there's nothing over here. Alright.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly
That's
not a
false.
bucket as dazzling to behold as this one.
Yeah,
It is
true.
man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between the bucket and humanity. However clear a grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. It's my hole! Oh. So I'm not supposed to press that? I want it to go in my hole!
Something we can do. Something we can do together,
What a
you and I,
tease.
that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Nice. Oh, I was like, what has happened? Oh. We are in a new territory. It's a golden bucket.
Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Oh, it looked gold. But it's because there's no light.
Stanley clutched the bucket
Dang.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Should I? I guess. I just want to drop down the eternal hole, please. Please. Ah, I hate this. Oh, lame. Boo. Boo. Damn it.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
You and I.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new...
Begin the game again. That one's dangerous. Begin the game again. Okay, let's quit the desktop one more time and open it. Click on the door 435 times. Okay. Settings World Champion. Set all setting sliders in the menu to all the available numbers. I'm just looking at the other achievements. Super go outside. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. Holy shit. Speedrun. Complete the Stanley Parable in under 4 minutes and 20 seconds, not including load times. Weird. Okay, we're gonna click on door 430 5 times. Oh, there's a commitment. We want to play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday, which is tomorrow. I would need to start it like right now. How many people have done that?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Uh-huh.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he...
Okay. So we wanna...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Yeah.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause.
Oh, you
Perhaps
suck.
50 clicks will do it. Yes,
Oh,
almost
no.
certainly 50 clicks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm still not feeling it. I
Oh,
want
you
this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Okay, 20 clicks, 417. But where's 417?
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, surely not.
417. There we go.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times.
Oh my god, this guy sucks. 437, huh? Wait, where is 437? 435, 434. Oh, there it is.
Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
Good lord. I'm an achievement.
Now back to door number
Oh
437.
my fracking god. Four, 3, 7. Okay.
You know, I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket off? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
I hate this
Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk.
Oh my god. How do I do that? Let me get on top of... Can I not do it?
Yes,
there
this
we
is
go.
great. Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416. We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
There's probably no achievement. Like none.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 43. Yes! We did it! Wow!
Finally!
That felt amazing. You know, not all buckets will get this kind of experience. They won't all know what it's like to slam repeatedly against nearly every door in one section of an office building. Or what it's like to be employee 419. Buckets may dream of an experience like this, but few can say they've truly lived it. You've given a bucket hope today.
I'm happy.
Stanley, I'm very proud of you.
Nice. Okay. Dope. What was the other one? That's how shitty my memory is. Oh my god. Okay, I thought I did all the sliders. Maybe it has to be like in game. Damn it. I tried. I really tried. Now what the hell do I do? I still need to find that stupid frackin' room.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I don't know where to go. I do not know where to go. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I don't know.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps as Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I don't
But
care.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling
know
him
where
that
else
the
to
employee lounge was simply the
go.
place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Yeah.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
I'm
somewhere
not.
else. The cargo lift,
wish I
yes.
could get over
go
there.
Go to the cargo lift.
How do I... Penalty for misuse.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all
Loading
the way to
dock.
the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Did we do that?
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
Is there
It should
another
have
way
alarmed
down
him,
there?
of course, because
I can't
buckets
remember.
can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this.
I know I don't
obvious
listen to
fact.
him often,
He was
so...
firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Mm-hmm. Danger everywhere. Okay.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point.
Yes.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
This is the bucket
which,
ending.
if that's true, well, my goodness. I think we have to do something about it. This
Maybe-
misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if
Maybe
not
to get
addressed
through
quickly
that
and properly.
door.
So much
I
of the
don't need
impact of the
bucket.
story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't
Let me
a
in
bucket.
here.
Please, step in here for a moment.
Yeah.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and
Dang
you'll
it.
tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket?
So
okay,
annoying.
let's begin.
Okay, so the
Item
first
1.
two are not
Is
buckets.
this a bucket?
No.
Correct.
Yes.
It is a
Next one is
hologram
not
of
a bucket either.
not an actual bucket.
Yes. Not a
Item
bucket.
2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Yeah. This one I think is a bucket.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is a bucket.
Is the next one the thingy? Yeah.
Item 4.
No.
Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a tractor
We're gonna do
and
a
not a
perfect run.
bucket. To be
maybe.
honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you
fair.
for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Oh my god. The next one should be the other trailer.
Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct.
But
This is a bucket.
Can we get a perfect? I actually don't really remember the last bit.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
This is the yellow, right?
Trick
Yeah,
question.
okay.
Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
This is not a bucket.
Yes. Thank you. There's
Come
nothing here.
on.
Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know
One
full well
more.
nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a
Or
bucket,
maybe not.
that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
No.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out.
Damn.
I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift.
True.
Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
No.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I
Yeah,
can't have
probably.
that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
All right.
Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone?
Yeah, I think I'll
How
have
did
to do
everything
that
disappear? Wait,
same
was
pathing
everything a bucket?
without the bucket.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket.
Except for
My
you and I,
God,
my
I had
friend.
no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is
True.
wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Okie dokie. All right, no bucket run. Let's go, let's go, let's
All of
go.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
No
meeting
bucket.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I need to go through the no bucket door. Because I can't remember if I
When
did
Stanley
that.
came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the
don't
meeting
think I
room, and
did.
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
'Cause I don't remember
Perhaps he
leaping
wanted to
off
stop
onto
by
the
the
catwalk.
employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge
I
was
may
sublime,
have.
a work of art. But eager to get back to business,
Ugh,
Stanley took
itchy
the
face.
first open door on his left.
Nope. You cannot make me, sir.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright, let's go.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
there's
it is
still
me,
balloons
really,
here,
I'm
too.
not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has
Almost
been about
ran
nothing
off.
but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
maybe
for
I
others?
did do
Are
this.
you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Alright.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
It is.
I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here.
Hell yeah.
And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay, sir, what door do you want me to go into? Did we go through?
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
Oh,
You see
okay.
that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
Good grief.
I wanted to stop.
I agree.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
Yes.
And I think I have a solution.
Oh, do you know?
Let me show you.
I don't think we did this. I don't think we got that ending.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
What is this?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
There.
I actually feel happy.
Oh, nice. So beautiful. Yeah, I think if we ended up doing this, because I vaguely remember that room, I definitely did not listen to him. Yo! That's so cool. I wonder if I can fall off this platform, though. Is there any more to this? Does that get smaller and smaller? Ooh, green lights. Oh, okay. The clouds are gone. So cool. I don't know if they're gonna turn into those cloud thingies. They might. They're just not rising up, they're just turning counterclockwise. Can I jump off this side? No, I can't. It's so pretty. I want to see like all of it. Okay, the red is going up in the sky. It's almost making me look like I'm going like cross-eyed because everything's turning blurry. Pretty colors. Ooh. Oh, the hole actually sealed itself this time. Ooh. Nice, nice. I don't know when I should leave this area. I can't tell if that's getting bigger or smaller, if it's kind of like just adding to it and like will stay roughly the same size. My god, I suck. Okay, there's no more red. Let's see if it starts repeating itself. Or if something cool happens. Not that this isn't cool, but... Oh, there we go. Were they turning like that before? I don't remember them spinning so fast. Maybe they did. Oh, I thought I was jumping. Alright, let's see what happens after this, and then we can just go through this door. Will anything happen after this? Yeah, I don't know if anything's gonna happen. I don't remember the last time this took so long to just dissipate. Maybe this is all that there is. Yeah, I don't think these are going away. Alright.
No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
He doesn't want me to leave, which is fair.
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Okay.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You are going to stay here, aren't you?
No. What's this? Oh, it's a childhood drawing. Interesting.
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
I don't know, man. I learn hard lessons, not very good. It's a really shitty sentence. Okay, all the dialogue options appear to be done. Let's go to the stairs. That wall reminds me of dominoes. Let's go, my friend.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
I'm sorry.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Oh my god.
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You have no.
No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
I'm walking slower and slower.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Maybe? I think all I can take is one more hit.
No.
Yeah.
Perhaps not.
No.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game?
I'm
That you'll
sorry.
throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
I'm
You were
sorry.
literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
I'm
Am
sorry.
I reading the situation correctly?
No.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
I'm sorry.
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
apologize. I'm sorry, narrator. This isn't about you.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going back.
I'm sorry. I wonder if he'll be sad this time. This might be my last playthrough, because he isn't talking.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one.
That's
Wasn't
fair.
it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
It
Didn't
was.
fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love
wow.
nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Okay. Alright, we're back here. This is a lovely area. And Stanley found the collectibles. Nice. The memory zone. Audience award. Stanley Parable. Okay. Okay. Guess we're going down into the dank, dark dungeon.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure,
Can
it
you
said
find
6 right
'em?
there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never
Oh,
be like
everything's
that
turning
again,
black
Stanley.
again. What is this over here? Is it just an unintentional... What's this? I didn't see this before.
And here was a second
Wow.
Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by
Oh, I can't
poking
go
around
through
in
it.
the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be
Dang it.
honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all
can't believe
sorts
I
of
did that.
mundane, unremarkable ways.
I screwed up. I totally screwed up. Damn it! Oh my god, I suck. I can't believe that. Oh, it won't even let me fall. Oh, so annoying.
Okay, let's do a little quiz.
I can't
Which
believe
of
I did
these
that.
rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
Stairs.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here under the
believe that.
stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then
So
after
much
that, you had
regret.
3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your 3rd time doing anything.
Really?
Let's see, what came next?
Suck.
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room.
No, we
Well,
didn't.
I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
I can't believe it. Ugh. So stupid.
This was the 5th mini-stand, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly.
Can't believe
In fact,
it.
because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the
Oh,
occasion.
did you?
Enjoy.
Oh, look at that low quality. Oh, holy crap. He found it behind the boss's office. Thanks for watching. Oh my god. Best boy.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was
I'm
8
sure
minutes
you
I
did.
wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Alright. And then the last one was the door room.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors.
I'm
This memory is the
so
most distinct and
stupid.
clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
I can't
Who
believe
can
that.
truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike
Stupid.
any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Yo, what? Oh, it's the same. Okay. You are in the present.
And then
It's the fern!
there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present
the
moment.
fern!
Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
I was so focused on the freaking friend.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that
Holy
feels.
crap. I like how the fern's there. He made me remember the fern.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked
I
at in
will
our initial
kick
tour of the
myself.
memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Yeah.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
I certainly do.
Yes, I love that video.
This weird pink room.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
I agree. Nothing. Okay.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any
Downstairs.
kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Yeah.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh yeah, here's the museum thingy. Collectables. Many improvements. The work was put in, reap the results. The jumping circle.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then.
I wish I didn't jump every time.
And everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now.
I suck.
Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Oh dear.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Do they? Yeah, they both. Now
And
we're
before
back to.
everything else, there was your office.
Agreed.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Is it my apartment?
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me.
Say
He would
what?
make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh, holy crap. Alright, so one more playthrough. Okay. Alright, let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
Let's
decided
see
to
if
go
he
to the
will
meeting room.
delete
Perhaps he had
everything.
simply missed a memo.
Let's bring
What new
Bucket this
mysteries lay in
time.
store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Okay. See, there's only one input. I've never been able to do other inputs. So unfortunate. Let's see if I can go back and see if there's... Is there a computer that I can do
Stanley
things?
clung the bucket to his cheek.
No.
Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Damn. Okay. I guess I only get to put in... Dang it. Yeah, I think that's... I can't... Oh, that's annoying. Alright. Let's keep going. I wish I could...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Still no
Oh,
one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
there is no
Perhaps his
figurine
boss's
room
office
anymore.
was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yes. Okay, I can go in here now. I don't think there's anything I can do in there, though.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Down, down, down we go. Whee!
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Let's just straight up do the proper one.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Oh, I can't go backwards. Typically, you can't go backwards.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen
I wish I could see all these rooms.
And it very nearly burst into tears.
I wish I could enter every door.
Gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
But that would be a lot to actually model.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
It just wants to be my best friend.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Quit saying I have a feeble mind.
Into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
There it is.
But here was the proof.
I got so turned around.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
Yes.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Oh, red button. Dang, alright. Want to see if anything would happen by pressing a bunch of the buttons. Turns out, nothing. Blop, 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 blop.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
See if
Stanley
it ends
gasped
on bird.
in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and
or if
claim
it'll
the
just
power
make
for
us...
itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust.
But
when
then
suddenly, an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Always end on birds.
Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control... Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls are only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Yeah, born to data,
All along.
tracking
Stanley
them all.
marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards
410,757,865,535,530
Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place.
I am trash,
living
man.
through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Penguins!
Was happy.
Always end on birds. He lied! He said he was gonna end everything. What the hell?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
He didn't
Stanley
end
decided
everything.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I think I'm done everything. At least everything I can think of. Although I have a feeling I'm just gonna be doing everything over and over and over and over and over again. Do I go back and without the bucket? Do I do the freedom ending?
Nothing could never try.
Okay, now it's like ringing and stuff. Okay, we've been here. We've done this. Okay, I think I have to stop here. And I don't think there's much else I can do. I think I'm just in this endless loop now. There might be something, but I really don't know how to do anything else. So, this is probably it for the Stanley Parable. I really enjoyed it. The writing is beyond clever. I was not expecting this at all, honestly. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys did too. If you could, and if you liked everything, please like, subscribe, and comment. I would really appreciate it. That's everything. So I hope you have a good night, a good morning, or whatever it is wherever you are, and I will talk to you later. Bye. So as I was trying to close the game, I went and answered the phone once more, and it was a different message. It was the girl who we heard last time on the recorder, but she was talking to me as if she was my partner, and she asked for like some groceries for me to pick up that she wanted when I was coming home. So that's weird. And then when I exited after that, because it just started to be the same as I kept going, I see this epilogue. I don't know what this is. This video is going to be monstrously long, but I think we gotta do it. Epilogue. Many, many years later. Hey, we've been here before. Still can't jump. That's good. Just this barren wasteland. Maybe I should walk towards the sun. Let's... Beautiful! Yo! Let's walk the way the wind's blowing. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there's the big moon. I'm just always gonna walk towards the thing in the sky. Interesting. Wait, where's the sun? Oh, there it is. It's the memory house. In loving memory. Okay. Alright. Cookie Nine's blog review of the Stanley Parable 2 posted on April 27th by Cookie Nine. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fanbase. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole, who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve. Cat dog born! Is there anything over here? Oh, I think that's where I came from. Okay. Stanley Parable developers. No more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans wanted, or is not what the fans want. Reads the press release. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise it's preserve the artistic integrity of the original game, and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. It's funny. Oh, hey! Name! Yeah, Jim! That's true, I never did find this button.
Jim.
Huh. Oh, there's more Jim buttons. Jimothy.
Jim.
Now they don't go off. I'm gonna try and press all of these Jim buttons.
Jim.
Alright. Ooh, that looks cool.
Jim.
Dang it.
Stanley.
Ooh!
Jim.
We found a Stanley.
Stanley.
Ooh. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. I still can't believe, like, this is just rubbing it in the fact that I screwed up so bad. Ooh. Hello again. Oh, I found it! It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developers said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense! Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together, we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we gotta do is change the number of the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. Stanley Parable 3. Now with added cheese. Deadly cheese. Spectacular cheese. The last ever. Now with added cheese. There you go. Stanley Parable 3, now with added cheese. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end, and nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Yeah, sure. Good! Then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I noticed that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see? I'm on your side. We're in this together. We'll keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. It must keep the wheel churning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. There we go. And it's confirm. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. Now with added cheese. Oh, I love this. I love this so much.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Like you said,
Orders came
nothing
to him
changes.
through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to
I
give
wonder
him
if there'll
instructions,
actually be cheese
call a
in this
meeting,
game now.
or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Is there cheese? There is no cheese.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, I'm curious if it's gonna say Stanley Parable 3. I keep saying, oh no, I'm done, but nope.
One man,
Bucket.
one bucket, one chance to seize their destiny together.
Wait, what?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
What? You've got to be kidding me. This game never ends.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Yeah, but now we're on the third version.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable
my goodness.
Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket
What is
already?
going on?
This makes no sense at all.
This is new.
Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel?
Oh my
I don't
god.
remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
Holy crap. Oh,
All right.
I still got 0
All
jumps.
right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I got no more jumps, my dude. Nah, got no jumps. Sorry. Oh, I'm not in far enough.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley,
Yes.
none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
Holy crap. Thank you for enjoying the new
if
content.
you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. You carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win!
did?
I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is
Congrats.
correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging
problem.
tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket.
I agree.
I win, 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 I win.
Okay, that's gotta be it, right? That's gotta be it.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself. It's bucket time.
Oh god. Stanley Parable 2. Is this gonna be different?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
What the hell?
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
No, sorry, dude. It's the Stanley Parable 3.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll
get
cover
my
with a
hole
fully fledged
again?
sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Resurgence bucket. We've already got the bucket. We've
Wait,
already got the
there
bucket.
are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so
my God.
intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me?
I want to.
Stanley! Oh, thank God, I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
I'm so sad. My bucket. My bucket. Oh, that makes me so sad. Shit, I think I'm stuck. Uh-oh, what the hell? Okay, there we go. God dang it, man. Can't believe it blew up my stinking bucket. Alright, let's go find my hole instead. No screenshots.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Dope. Hell to the yes. Squeaky,
actually,
squeaky.
Maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my
This
decision.
is the hole.
We're
This
moving
is my
on.
hole. My hole. My hole. My hole. My hole. My hole. My hole. Let me jump down.
Stanley,
my hole.
here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
I
Since you've
am
gotten
a
to
very
see the
big
infinite
fan
hole,
of the
you
hole.
can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Nah, man. Nah. This is my favorite hole.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
No.
Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
No. You can't make me.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole?
No.
To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature.
Rob.
It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually
Should have
need.
brought
Don't
my
you put this
bucket.
on me.
I'm so
Maybe
sorry.
you're the problem.
Damn it.
Look, things got a little heated
I
there.
wish I
think
would
we
have been
both said
able
some
to
things we
share
didn't
this
mean.
hole with my
Why
bucket.
don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite.
No.
If that works for you, then
No.
go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on.
No.
I'll just be up here when you're ready.
No. Mm-mm. 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 I can't remember if I have to be down here for a long time before he starts to yell at me. I don't remember. Yeah, maybe I do.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
Blop.
Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole. I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the
Wish I had
hole,
my
you can hit the
bucket. It would
teleport
probably be
button
different.
and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do
I will
have
still
so
keep
gosh.
falling.
How could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come. How is this still appealing to you?
It will
I know you're
always be
obsessed
appealing
with
to me.
holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh,
I
who
really
am I to
wish.
judge? You just do whatever
my
it is you're
bucket.
here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Oh yeah, it doesn't work this time.
Is the, teleport button not working?
No.
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing?
No.
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's
Beautiful.
a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Thanks, dude. I will forever love my hole. Yes. I think there was something that I wanted to do. I believe the reason why I wanted to go back in the hole was I think I got out of it a little too soon. I think I pressed the wrong button or something. If I remember correctly, which I never do, so... Goodbye, world. so creepy. I like this angle. This angle's a good angle. Yeah, I don't know if I went through all of the perception changes.
My head's stronger. Now you're no.
Oh yeah, stuck on the puppies too long. Yeah, I didn't see half of these. Oh my god. I like that drawing. Okay, we've cycled through all of that.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it.
Dang.
You don't want to miss a single moment.
You
So
suck.
how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to
You
keep you really,
suck.
truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
Yeah. Toodle pip. Let me out of this fracking hole. Do I go back down the hole? Oh, that's right. Alright, let's go to the X.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
New easy achievement. Okay, it might make me go get the collector out of order. Alright. Can we do this easy?
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well,
Yeah.
I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement.
Oh yeah, the thing.
You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... What? Wait. What in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine
My
work?
friend
Stanley, I didn't
helped.
fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second
Oh
ago.
hell
Who
yes.
fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure. Composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended.
Oh my
It truly
god.
speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
That's amazing. Oh my god. That's great. That's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
We've seen all of them. I think. Settings World Champion. Oh, that's right. Where's the settings? Jump circle. Where's the settings? Because free achievement, mostly infinite whole collect. Okay, so no. Where is the settings? Because I wasn't able to do that last time. Okay. No. Is this the settings?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Okay, there's the settings. Damn it. I'm still not allowed in there. That sucks. It sucks. I think that's it now. Free achievement, yeah, I think that's it. Jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
Back.
Oh well.
Damn it.
I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Bleh. Bleh. What good are you?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
Tis.
Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now that... All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yes. I got my achievement. It's beautiful.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Yes.
I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Beautiful. Love it. Jumps remaining, 36.
Well, I mean, there's potential here,
Give
right?
it to me.
Sort of... Okay, never mind.
I
Hold
want
on.
the jumps.
Let me do a different arrangement.
Collectors.
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
I like
Who am
how
I
I was
kidding,
able
Stanley?
to change the
This isn't a coherent
the
video game at
balloons.
all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to
I
anything.
should have gone to the name room. That's what I
I
forgot
wanted
to
more
look
than
at.
anything to create a
Damn it.
sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love
Dang
it.
it.
No matter how
Oh.
good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully,
Sure.
of course. With respect. With care for the vision
We've
and
already-
integrity of the original game.
I've already done it.
Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Let's take a gander. It's beautiful. Beautiful, my friend. Okay.
This is the story of a...
There's the white balloons.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh my
What could it
goodness.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps it's bucket time.
It's bucket time. It's bucket time. Okay. Still new content. Yeah, it's just gonna bring me back there. Alright. I keep saying I think this is it, but then I always find new stuff. I truly think this is it, though. I don't know what else to do. I don't. I'm sure there is, but I don't know what to do. I think this is gonna be it for me. I think that there is just too few changes now in every iteration, and so I might come back to this at some point, but it'll just be for me and I won't be recording it. And if you want to continue this whole story or want to do it for yourself, I highly recommend it. Even though if you've been watching this, you see what it is, but you might be able to find different versions or different variations and stuff. So yeah, I highly recommend it. But yeah, as of next week, there'll be a different thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be another game or something different. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. As always, please give a like, subscribe, and comment. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you have a good night, a good morning, or whatever it is wherever you are. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.